Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is a Shop My Stash update. The last time I did a Shop My Stash was 2 months ago when I picked out products in September for my 2-month-long Shop My Stash. So I picked out a lot of products. I did not use all of those products for my Shop My Stash, but like I said in my last video, or in my last Shop My Stash rather, I really wanted a lot of options since I was going to be gone and out of the country for over a month. Because of that, I picked out a lot of products, didn't end up using all of them, but I am going to go through all of the old products and then I will leave a timestamp linked down below if you just want to see me picking out new products and don't really care about what I did and did not use these past couple months. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a robotics engineer with a love for all things beauty and makeup related, and I'd love it if you liked and subscribed if you aren't already. If you are new here, you're probably not aware, but I did go to Australia and Vietnam and I was gone for 5 weeks. It was a long 5 weeks, but I had a work trip and then I went to Vietnam as a vacation. Lots has happened in the last couple months, but we are back, we are better than ever, and we are just going to hop into it. So I have my laptop here with a list of all of the products that I brought with me. There are quite a few products here that I just really did not use, but I did use some of them. So let's talk about them. The first item I want to mention is my Nabla Cutie Midnights palette, and there is just something about this. I think this color story is absolutely stunning. I love this color story, but I cannot bring myself to actually use it. For context, I also have a No Palette Left Behind challenge that I've been working on for pretty much this entire year, and this this palette has still had 0 uses throughout the entire year, even though I've had this in my Shop My Stash for quite a long time. I think this palette is stunning. I just cannot bring myself to use it. I am a neutrals lover at heart. I don't often do super colorful looks, but I will every once in a while, and I just feel like it's maybe a little bit too colorful for my everyday. So this was in my Shop My Stash for like the 4th month in a row, and I still have not used it, and I did not use it the entire time I was gone in Australia and Vietnam. Is that a sign that maybe I should declutter it? Yes, but am I going to? Probably not. I did bring 2 concealers with me to Australia and Vietnam besides the Merit the Minimalist that's in my project pan right now, and they are these 2. This is the Dior Backstage Flash Perfecting Concealer in the shade 3W, and then this is the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener in the shade Light Medium. So I did use the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener a couple more times than I used the Dior concealer, mainly just because the Merit the Minimalist is what I was typically using for concealer, just because it is in my project pan. I am trying to finish that up a little bit more quickly. When I did feel pretty tired and just a little bit less alive, I did go in with the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener just to brighten up my under eyes a tiny bit. It's definitely not super full coverage, it's very light coverage honestly, but I did like it for that little added bit of brightness. I did like these 2 together as well, but like I said, I really didn't use this as much as I thought I would. Most days when I was going to work, it was very light coverage, and in Vietnam I really didn't wear makeup at all. There were only a few products that I did end up wearing in Vietnam, and some sort of full glam. Anything more than the Merit Minimalist stick in terms of coverage was not really prevalent in my routine. The next item I picked out in my Shop My Stash was the Glossier Future Dew. I think I only used this a couple of times. I did really like this. I also want to mention that I really liked this underneath the Merit the Minimalist stick. I find that the Merit the Minimalist stick can be a little bit drying if you don't prep your skin properly, especially because I had a couple of dry patches from acne. I do think this added a really nice glow, and the sunscreen that I was using in Australia did end up being a matte sunscreen. Because of that, I did want something a little bit more glowy for most days. So I did really like this. I did use this a couple of times, and I am going to continue to use it because it does feel pretty lightweight. I brought two cream bronzers with me. I will say I used one more than the other. I really did not use the Makeup Revolution Ultra Cream Bronzer in the shade Medium that much. Like I said, my makeup was very, very, very minimal, and this is just a pretty pigmented bronzer. I didn't really feel the need to have something so intense, and because I wasn't wearing a lot of makeup, I did feel like this was a bit much for the vibe that I was going for. I did use the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer a little bit more. For the most part though, I think I only used this like 3 or 4 times. I more often than not just didn't use a cream bronzer at all and just went in with my Knobla Skin Bronzing because it is in my project pan. Definitely did not need to bring both. Did not use the Makeup by Mario, or I did not use the Makeup Revolution one whatsoever, and realistically I probably could have left the Makeup by Mario one at home, but it did feel nice to have it with me just in case, you know? I also brought with me 2 powder blushes to go along with my Rare Beauty blush in the shade Joy, the liquid blush in the shade Joy. I brought my Vive Sunset blush in the shade Cherub, and then I also brought my Persona Super Blush in the shade Bubble. Surprisingly, I think I used my Vive blush more than I ended up using my Persona blush in the shade Bubble. I think the Vive one is just a little bit more neutral leaning compared to the Persona blush, which is very, very cool toned, and I think for the everyday this just made a little bit more sense to me. The formula is great. It's got a little bit of kick up, but nothing that is super concerning, and I did enjoy having both of these with me. Did I need both blushes? Obviously not, but I did enjoy having them, and I really got to use and thoroughly test out my Vive Sunset blush in the shade Cherub, and I was a big, big fan. I did end up bringing another blush that I didn't talk about in my Shop My Stash. It was kind of a last minute addition, so I'm just going to take the time and talk about it now. I also brought my Youthforia BYO blush oil in the shade Chemical Reaction. I quite liked this when I finished up my Rare Beauty blush in the shade Joy. You can see that it's getting a little bit cloudy in the packaging, and I think it's just from drawing directly on my face and then putting the stopper back in, and I think it's just changing the color. But on my face, it looks green. It's a pH changing blush, so on my cheeks it ended up being a very cool tone blush, and I did really like this. I thought it blended out really easily, and I liked the effect it had. It did fade kind of quickly just because it is very wet, I guess, for lack of a better word, but I thought that it was beautiful, and I did really enjoy using this. Besides the Nabla Cutie Midnights palette, I also brought my Nabla Side by Side palette. I think I used this one time, and that brought me over my goal for my No Palette Left Behind challenge. So, complete honesty here, I did not wear eyeshadow. Just did not. I mostly was just using a little bit of my highlighter on my brow bone, but really did not wear eyeshadow whatsoever. I probably did not need to bring this with me. I probably didn't need to bring eyeshadow at all, because if you guys have been here for any amount of time, I am not a huge eyeshadow person in general. I still brought it. It was fine. One of these pans actually fell out. I think it was Better Society, and I just kind of like popped it back in there, and it seems to be staying perfectly fine. Oh no, that was a big fat lie. It is the shade Better Society. It did pop out. I kind of just popped it in back in there, and if I don't tip it completely upside down, it seems to stay okay. Almost a casualty with this palette, but I do think it's a beautiful palette. It's one of my favorites. Don't wear eyeshadow that often. What more can I say? In terms of lip products, I brought quite a few, more than I needed to for sure. There were a couple that I did not use at all. The first one being my Merit Shade Slick tinted lip oil in the shade Taupe. Reached for other things over this one. The next thing I brought was my Refi lip gloss. This is just a clear lip gloss. Did not use it, did not need to. Definitely could have gone without these two. I forgot about them, to be quite honest. I did not think about those whatsoever. One product that I did use quite a bit is this from Rare Beauty. This is their tinted lip balm in the shade Nearly Petal. It's a very milky pink, pretty much goes on clear, but it was very comfortable to put on the lips. I liked it as a lip balm. I put it on as soon as I woke up in the morning, started getting ready, started putting on makeup, and my lips would feel pretty hydrated from this. So I did end up using this quite a bit. I also ended up using my Clinique Almost Lipstick in the shade Black Honey quite a bit. This is just a little mini size of it, but I did really like this. This was the lip product that I put on this morning. It's just a very pretty product. It felt very fall. I liked it a lot. And lastly, I brought my Ramond Juicy Lasting Tint in the shade number 24, Peeling Angdu. I loved this. This was super nice, especially when I was working all day. I didn't really have to think about reapplying. My lips didn't feel dried out after the fact. This is a great product, and I actually made a Yes Style order a couple days ago to pick up a different shade, one that's a little bit more neutral, of the same formula, because I really thoroughly enjoy it. 3 out of 5 lip products is pretty good in my opinion, just because I am so not a lip girly. Most of the time I'm just wearing a lip balm anyway. It was nice having a couple of different options, and I'm glad I got some use out of the ones that I brought. I did bring a couple of single shadows with me. The first one is my Cosmetics Cosmic Pearl Dewy Eyeshadow in the shade Moonrise. I really didn't use this. Again, my makeup for the everyday was pretty minimal when I was working in Australia, and when I was in Vietnam, I really wasn't wearing makeup at all. I think this is a stunning product. It's just a little bit more intense than I was going for the everyday. As a little swatch, it's just super reflective. That just wasn't the vibe that I was trying to have every day. I did go in with this from Freck. This is the lid drip, or this is the shadow slide in the shade Lid Drip. I mostly went in with this on my inner corners as an inner corner highlight. It looks very reflective from the swatch, but on my inner corners it ended up being pretty sheer. It's just like a little bit of sparkle reflect right there. So I did use this a couple times. I did enjoy it. I really didn't use the Cosmetics Moonrise eyeshadow though. And then the last thing that I had in my Shop My Stash is my Freck Noir. When I first got to Australia, I was using this a lot. I just love the look of faux freckles. I think it's a super cool product, and you know, you can't really go wrong with a freckle pen. The longer I got into my work week, the less I used it, just because I was getting so tired, so bored. I don't know. I didn't give myself enough time to wake up in the morning. The time change was an adjustment. I did use this quite a bit at the very beginning, but my usage of this definitely went down the more I was away from home. I do think it's stunning though. I probably won't be using this a ton in the next several months, just because it is turning into fall winter, so probably won't be using it that much, but I do love this product. I rave about this all the time. I think it's great, and I love the look of faux freckles. Plus in Australia it is turning into summertime, so I think it's their springtime right now. It made more sense to use it in Australia. I would have used it in Vietnam way more too if I had worn a lot of makeup, but I did not. Definitely quite a few products that I did not need to bring, but overall I don't regret bringing any of them. I do think I got a good mix. I did like having the option of bringing other products, and it really didn't take up that much space with the way that I packed it and how much space I had in my suitcases. No regrets necessarily. I do think I maybe brought a little bit too much, but that is a-okay. I am happy with the amount that I brought. It ended up working out totally fine, and the few products that I didn't use really didn't take up that much space. So those are all the products that I had in my Shop My Stash the last 2 months, but let's switch gears to picking out some new products. Okay, so for this first drawer, I'm actually not going to pick out anything because I do have my Merit Minimalist Stick in my project pan right now, which kind of acts as a concealer and a foundation. I also have my Rare Beauty Under Eye Powder also in my project pan, so I don't need to pick out another powder. And the last thing in here is just color correctors, and these are kind of things that I just reach for when I feel the need to, so not gonna pick out anything here. This next drawer is primers, highlighters, and face palettes. I'm also not gonna pick out anything from this drawer though, because I do have the Milk Makeup primer in my project pan, and I also have my Lila B primer in my project pan, so I really don't need anything else. I do feel like if I want something a little bit more glowy or a little bit more grippy, I'll just come in here and reach for it. I don't think I need to pick one out specifically for my Shop My Stash this month. All right, this drawer is where all of the action is. These are all of my bronzers and blushes. I do have a cream blush in my project pan right now, so I am gonna choose a powder one. I think I'm gonna go with this blush from Essence. This is the blush in the shade 40 Beloved. I have this blush in a different shade called 20 Bespoke, and that is one of my all-time favorite blushes. This one is just a little bit more pinky and a little bit brighter, whereas the 20 Bespoke blush is a little bit more bronzy neutral. So I'm gonna pick this out, and I think I'm gonna pick out my Cover FX blush in the shade Spiced Cinnamon. This blush is super pretty. It's this very beautiful, more burnt red shade. This is one of my favorite blush formulas. It's one of the first blush formulas that I fell in love with, and you do get the duo here with a matte blush and a shimmery topper shade, so very versatile. I think this formula is stunning, and I love this shade, especially for these kind of cooler months. I feel like it just brings me joy, so I'm picking this out as well. In terms of a bronzer, I do have my Nabla Skin Bronzing in my project pan right now. I don't necessarily think I need another bronzer, but for the sake of just having one in case I want to reach for one, I think I'm gonna go with my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand. I feel like I haven't used this in quite a while, and I do like it, and I definitely want to make sure I get use out of it because it was so expensive. So I'm gonna pull this out if I want to feel a little bit more sculpted. I feel like this is a really good option. It blends out super easily. It's just a really good formula. I like it a lot. I think I'm good on setting sprays. I'll probably just come out and reach for one when I feel like I need one. I don't think I need another cream blush because I already have one in my project pan. So I think that's it for this drawer as well. In terms of eyeshadows, I'm only going to pick out one palette, and I'm gonna pick out my Biba palette. I feel like I have not used this enough this past year. I also think that I really need to make progress on this for my No Palette Left Behind challenge. It has these very pretty warm tones as well as cool tones, so it's just super versatile. You know, I definitely just need to get a little bit more usage out of this. So I'm gonna pick this out. I don't usually pick out a lip product or like a lipstick to use, but I have really been wanting to use this, so I'm gonna pick out my Merit the Signature Lip in the shade L'avenue. It's this very beautiful darker brownie red shade. That was not a good description. This is a beautiful lipstick though. It's nice and sheer, but you can build it. I think it's perfect for these fall winter months. So I'm gonna pull this out. Everything else I think is fine where it is. I'm probably not gonna pick out anything else, but this is a beautiful lipstick. Highly recommend. And I think that's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this Shop My Stash update. It has been quite a bit since I've done one, so I feel a little bit rusty, I'm not gonna lie. I'm happy with these products. I know I didn't pick out a ton, but I have so much in my project pan right now that it doesn't really make sense for me to pick out any more. So yeah, I hope you guys are having a great day. I will keep you guys updated on these products next month. I will post another update and we'll pick out some more products and the cycle will continue. I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.